to Whips in the Dungeon. We're doing long whip practice today. What do we have? We have a 6-foot bullwhip by Bill Gnomes. The whip lasagna on this whip is it doesn't have bolsters or binding. It's a 2-belly whip. Core, belly, second belly, and overlay. This is a 6-foot target bullwhip by Peter Jack. It was made around 2011, 2001. You know it's an older build of his by the shape of the Turk's head. He makes his Turk's head and his heel knot much rounder now. This was a little bit kind of cone shaped in the early days of his plaiting. That's the way he made his heel knot. And this is a Peter Jack snake whip, 6-foot snake whip that we're gonna throw for you today. I keep saying, I've said it over and over and over, 6-foot snakes, you can throw a 6-foot bullwhip in direct contact dungeon play. A 6-foot snake doesn't have the accuracy. Could that accuracy be developed? Of course. I mean, if you work long enough, even with a stock whip, you can get accurate enough with it. You could throw it in dungeon play, but who wants to spend that kind of time just so you can say you're the only whip thrower in the world throwing a 6-foot stock whip in contact dungeon play? Now, wraps are a different thing. So wraps are a lot of fun with a 6-foot snake. I'm just throwing some conditioner on. I haven't conditioned this in a while. So we're conditioning this whip and then we're gonna throw it for you, okay? Actually, this fall is quite dry. Don't throw this whip but about once a year. Practice with it a little bit, but it only really gets played with at Weekend of Wickedness. Okay, so let's throw this 6-foot snake. I'm gonna throw it at the camera first and then I'm gonna throw it at the t-shirt, but let's start at the camera. Okay, so horizontal wraps would be done throwing sidearm. Not gonna have the room to do that in here. When you have a 6-foot whip indoors, you ground it in front of you, you bring it up behind you, and you throw it forward, kind of like throwing a baseball. So my foot position 4, my offhand foot is leading ahead, and I'm throwing this whip kind of like I'd throw a baseball. Gonna ground it straight in front of me, and I'm gonna bring it through and throw it like a baseball. Okay, you can see I can get a crack out of it. Takes quite a bit of room to throw this whip. And I'm trying to throw at the camera, but I just don't feel like the finish of the fall is accurate enough for direct contact play. But let's play that out and see. Hopefully you can see the t-shirt. And my goal is to feather the t-shirt, not rip it down off of its hanger. Okay. So we're going to ground it in front of us, and we're going to bring it through. Hit the ceiling fan again. So here we go. I'll be able to throw a bullwhip, moving the camera angle a little bit. I'll be able to throw a bullwhip without hitting that ceiling fan, but I am not able to throw a snake whip without hitting the ceiling fan. So let's see if we can do it here. Okay, hit the t-shirt. Okay. But you can see it's not consistent enough, and I need more ceiling room. Could I throw it outdoors? Sure, but it's not consistent enough to do direct contact dungeon play with. Could I throw it and do wraps around someone? Yes, and I have some videos of myself doing that. So we're going to compare that. That was a Peter Jack 6-foot snake. We're going to compare that to the 6-foot bullwhip, and you'll see, hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. So ground it in front of us. Bring it straight through and to the camera. And you can see because of the stiff handle, that stiff handle is letting me target it and point it where I want it to go. And the fall is finishing the cracker, you know, almost right at the camera every time. So it's a much different finish than what the snake was able to finish. So let's throw it the t-shirt and see if we can show that for you. And I have a obstruction behind me that you can't see, and I'm catching it every once in a while. I've got a little heater back here. Yeah, it gets cold in Florida in the wintertime. So I'm still working on this. I am not ready for wow yet, but I will get there. My goal is to do direct contact play with a 6-foot bullwhip at wow. And I want to be able to throw forehand and backhand. So I'm not happy with where it's hitting on the t-shirt. It's getting better as I'm throwing my pattern. I want to throw on both shoulders, and I got the right shoulder zeroed in, but I don't really have the left shoulder zeroed in. The right shoulder is pretty consistently hitting right there, but my left shoulder is a little low. I think I can adjust my footwork and make an adjustment for that. Let's see if I can demonstrate that. So what I'm going to try to do with my left foot, which is my backhand side, is put my left foot closer and lean forward while the backhand's being thrown. And get my backhand on my forehand on my back foot to be leaning back and have it targeting the right shoulder. Backhand's still a little low. I'm going to try to bring that up some. So I'm very self-critical. If you're throwing a 6-foot bullwhip, I encourage you to be equally self-critical of your own throwing, because you're throwing at a living, breathing human that's brave enough to stand for you and create a moment in time. Okay, now this is finishing kind of with a thud. Some of you are probably wondering, why is that finishing with a thud instead of a clean crack? That's because of the type cracker I'm using. I'm going to show this off real quick. This cracker is made with number 36 Mason line. It's a Lady Sally style cracker, but by using thicker Mason line, it's a thicker, fluffier cracker, and this extra fluff is acting like an air brake, okay? So at least at this point in my practice, and I probably am gonna use this cracker for live contact play. I may not ever actually get a clean crack out of this bullwhip, but I'm trying to do energy play. So for energy exchange, I'm okay with it finishing thuddy, right? It can finish thuddy. Okay, so let me turn this around and see how we're doing sound-wise with the gong. I've got a 14-inch gong here, 14-inch sun gong, and let's see how we're doing. Okay, well, my music stopped. Let me get my music on again. Here we go. And a little butt boy playing lightly in the background. Okay. And I've got whip practice coming up here in a little bit. Every Saturday, our third Saturday of the month. So with the gong, I'm happier with my targeting accuracy than I was with the t-shirt. So let's go to a smaller gong. Going from a 14-inch gong down to an 8-inch gong. And let's see how we're doing. So this video is really for the true whip enthusiast, because it's long and it's boring, and we're just practicing with a 6-foot bull whip. And most of you have already clicked off of this. The ones that are with me, this is absolutely fine. So we're going to throw at this 8-inch gong. Four hands there. Backhand's not quite there. There it is. Now, I have a conclusion, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Let's try something else. This was an 8-inch gong, and you're gonna go dex your nuts. Yeah, I'm a little nutty. Let's go to a 4-inch gong with a 6-foot bullwhip 8 feet away, and let's see. Because my theory is, if you watch me throw at the t-shirt, then at the 14-inch gong, then at the 8-inch gong, my accuracy was actually better with the smaller target. That's because your focus, the hyper focus, is narrowed and it's on a smaller target, and you're actually throwing better with more accuracy with the smaller target. That's my theory. Let's see if it's true with the 4-inch gong. I have no idea. I've never done this experiment before. So go with me on this journey. Okay, that hurt. 4-inch gong is going to swing more, obviously, if you hit it. Ouch. Okay, forehand is much better than the backhand, but I can say I'm not killing anybody with this backhand. Every once in a while, I catch the gong with my backhand. There's 2, 3. Okay, in fairness for the experiment, I was catching the ceiling fan on the backhand side every once in a while. You probably heard that in the video when I caught it. I was catching the pull chain coming off of the ceiling fan. I think there's something to that theory. The smaller the target, the easier it was to hyper focus. I obviously did better with the 8-inch gong than the 4-inch gong. Blessings to everybody that made it to the end of this video, and thanks for watching Whips in the Dungeon.